Just talk to me for 2 minutes.
First, let me say that I'm happy that the lady in this video is okay. Second, let me break down what rape culture is. Rape culture is the fact that that man felt that he was entitled to some of this woman's time just because he said, let me talk to you for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. If she said no, no means no. Rape culture is the comments that she has on her video about how she should have just spoke to him or dressed differently. Rape culture is me taking the heat for calling out other men for their terrible behavior. Rape culture is trying to explain stuff as, oh, it's just locker room talk. No, it's not locker room talk. You should talk the same way wherever you are. We all know that rape is not about sex, it's about power. So for you to force yourself on somebody, even if you're just talking to them, is disgusting, dude.
Leave me alone! Please!
Just talk to me for 2 minutes.
First, let me say that I'm happy that the lady in this video is okay. Second, let me break down what rape culture is. Rape culture is the fact that that man felt that he was entitled to some of this woman's time just because he said, let me talk to you for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. If she said no, no means no. Rape culture is the comments that she has on her video about how she should have just spoke to him or dressed differently. Rape culture is me taking the heat for calling out other men for their terrible behavior. Rape culture is trying to explain stuff as, oh, it's just locker room talk. No, it's not locker room talk. You should talk the same way wherever you are. We all know that rape is not about sex, it's about power. So for you to force yourself on somebody, even if you're just talking to them, is disgusting, dude.
So, this is the Charles Perry Rape Culture Stalker Podcast. This is Cynthia Ortiz. It is the 4th of January, 2022. And we're going to do the disclaimer, use allegedly. Nobody's been found guilty in a court of law yet, Mr. Perry. That is coming. I promise you that's coming. When you bother me, when you contact me in any form at all, you hack, you peep, you think you got to talk to me, you start typing in my phone, what in the fuck? Nobody asked you what you think. No one asked you. You weren't asked. You were told to get the fuck out of my phone. Hacking is a crime, sir. Cloning my phone is a crime, sir. Peeping and voyeurism is a disgust. And nobody's caught you in your crime more than we have. We assert all constitutional rights, by the way, which we shouldn't have to. They are just there. They're our rights. You're violating my rights. Do you have antisocial disorder? Someone with antisocial disorder does not respect the rights, the legal rights, not to be peeped on, not to be bothered by a menace, not to be contacted by a man they don't like, not to be raped, not to be tortured, tormented, and starved. Those rights, Mr. Perry, I don't like you. Move on. You have spent a decade sitting around in pretend land making a fool of yourself. I don't like you. Move on. You're a grown-ass man. You need to act like it. Apply the but-for standard. But-for, Mr. Perry, violating me all over the place all fucking day long, every day for a decade. We wouldn't have to do this, would we? We're documenting the same thing she did. Gotta have proof in a court of law. So we apply the but-for standard, and we apply the reasonable person standard. What would any woman do in my shoes? But Mr. Perry, he's under investigation. He has been for a long time. I'm a part of that. Mr. Perry, you have a lot of people asking questions about the civil court case. There's too many hearings. There's too many motions filed where there wasn't a hearing, and there should have been. Sometimes required by law. There was no hearing. And when there was, she wasn't allowed in. This one chick has no law degree, not a lick of law school, going against 5 seasoned attorneys. It doesn't hurt a fucking thing to let her in the courtroom, and yet they kept her out over and over and over and over. So what does she have on them that they're afraid of coming out in that courtroom? Mr. Perry, leave me the fuck alone. I don't care what you think. He's typing in my phone this morning something about Ted Hogan. I don't care. Don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. Ted Hogan was my attorney in the false charges Mr. Perry, did after threatening it forever, and everyone knows it. What? I don't want to hear it, Mr. Perry. Get the fuck out of my phone. Get the fuck out of it. You are pissing everybody off. So, what we're going to do, Mr. Perry, I guess... Hang on a second. Okay, so I guess we were supposed to have a family thing on December 18th. They could only know about that from talking to my family. Mr. Perry asks me all the time, is your family involved? Are they ratting me out? Your kids ratting me out? Why are you talking to my family? Why the fuck are you talking to my family? Because you've been told over and over and over and over not to. You are not to contact my kids. You are not to contact my family. You fuck off. You need an alibi, sir, for how you're spending your time. We are going to hold you accountable for that in our case. The Fabian Puzzle Police. How'd I get that in jail? Fabian's name is on that, not yours. You're the butt in. Those guys heard what I said the first time. I didn't have to repeat myself. You need to keep up. You're slow. So why they can only know about that from talking to my family or hacking me or voyeurism. And so we've kind of started putting misinformation out there that in my house or in my phone so that they can only know one way, illegally. And they use it or they do anything with that at all, we're gonna exploit it. We sat down from the beginning, Mr. Perry, wrote a list of your weaknesses. Sociopaths don't have any human emotion. They're void of it. They don't have empathy for other people. Everybody's an object. They are all about power. You know what's power? Somebody that catches you in your crime every fucking time you try to do something to me. That's power. Power is chivalrous men who don't think it's cute when you rape women, when you torture, when you torment, when you starve, when you force yourself on people that don't like you. I moved twice to get away from you. I kept my mouth shut for 4 years. Then moved again, so you wouldn't need a cover-up. Your cover-up is your problem. Mr. Powell, your mistakes are your problem. Stop trying to make me pay for that. I'm not gonna. You pay for it. You're a grown man. You know how many times my guys have recorded you saying, I could be disbarred for this. That's your problem, sir. You don't put that off on women and children. You be a man about it. You own it. You be responsible. And you deal with it yourself. It's your problem, not mine. It is not my problem. All you old dudes, you old farts, who can't fucking get a woman to like you and so you peep, same thing. It's your problem. Don't you dare put that off on other people. Same thing for you, Charles. You peep, you hack, you stalk, you harass, you threaten, you get caught, you and David. You take my money, so I couldn't even go. We hear you guys planned that for weeks. You had this big thing planned for the 18th when I went to Manford. Actually, I wasn't going to Manford. I was going to go to Sand Springs. It's close to Manford, not in Manford. I didn't have to go through Manford to get there, and you know that. So what, you had somebody going to ask me to go to the store in Manford to pick something up? You wanted Chief Ridley? You want to cause a conflict between me and Manford Police? Let me tell you something. I haven't been to Manford since like 2019. Haven't talked to them at all. I've defended Mike Neely. You want to cause a conflict between me and Manford Police for that, over that. You want to cover up that murder because you did that. We know you did that. You can't beat somebody to death with one hand while you're drugged and unconscious and end up with nothing on you. It's not possible. I sting-opped Mitchell and Myers. It wasn't a deposition. That was a sting-op, and neither one of them had any idea that's what I was doing, and that's exactly what I was doing, because they asked all the questions you'd want asked about emails and shit. Is she a cop? None of the questions they asked me had anything to do with their case. They're not on your harassment case, are they? So, let me tell you something. When we sat down and figured all this out, how are we going to catch this bad guy? How are we going to slay this dragon? We sit down and we look at your weaknesses, and one of those is that you're sociopaths. You have no human emotion. You don't give a shit who you hurt or how bad you hurt them, do you? And so what that does for us is you fail to factor that into your plans. And we've exploited it like nobody has in your life, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back real quick. Mr. Perry's always, from the day one, I got to find a way to throw her back in jail, and she can't get out this time. He was recorded telling Fabian, I'm going to find a way to put her back in jail. She will not get out this time unless she's with me. You need to give up. Wow, you're butting in. You're not the wanted one. You're the wannabe. That's all you'll ever be. That's the best you can do. You're pathetic. Every day, all fucking day, Mr. Perry. I don't want you. You're low class. You're Jerry Springer. You're not my kind. You're a bad guy. I'm trying to help catch. That's it. That's all you are. Okay, so this I got in jail, right up under your nose. You had no control over that. I have other men in my life with power, and they don't treat women like shit like you do. They have respect, they have dignity, and they have the respect of other people too. That's Fabian's name on that puzzle. It's not Joe, it's not John, it's not Paul, it's not Sam. It's Fabian's name. I didn't get this at any other time in my life. I got it when you had me illegally detained, like a hostage, like a sex slave. You can't have a real date. You sit around pretending like a 1-year-old little girl watching Frozen, sitting there with her unicorn and her dolly. You need an alibi. You need to be out working. You need to be out doing things normal people do. You need to be with Jackie. You need to be with your kids. You need to get the fuck get out of my life. Get away from me. You are in violation of all kinds of laws. You guys are in trouble for racketeering, fraud. You got a big old organized crime deal, don't you? You drug traffic? You sex traffic? Do you run guns too? What are you in right now? You don't have a cover-up. You paid out, we understand, $25 million for a cover-up you did not get. You piss us off. You get told on. You piss me off. You get told on. Peep, hack, try to talk to me when I've said, get the fuck out of my life. I don't want to hear it. You're a sociopath. You failed to factor in human emotions, and we use that against you every time. Get the fuck out of my life. Get the fuck out of it. You act like a grown-ass man, and you go live in Lubbock, and you take care of your constituents, and your friends, and your family. Did you know phone calls were made to Lubbock to your friends? When's the last time you saw Charles Perry in Lubbock? Golly, it's been a while. I don't even know. And when's the last time you saw him with his wife, Jackie? Even longer. Who the fuck do you think you're fooling? So, in order to make that happen, I guess he tried to plan this, let's frame her for the murder of Caitlin Arquette. And they were collecting evidence, cigarette butts, my gum, clothing items from Lady Godiva's. And I was like, wow, okay, well, I didn't meet you till 2010. So you can't possibly have my fingerprints from 30, 40 years ago, whenever that murder happened. Perry hacked me, so he saw me talking to Lois Duncan, Caitlin's mother, who wrote a book after investigating the crime of the murder of her daughter, called Who Killed My Daughter. Lois and I were friends. I didn't know about the murder. I was like 18, 19. I had my apartment and no TV. It was my first apartment. And not only that, I didn't give a shit about the news at that age. Didn't give a fuck about it. So I didn't watch the news. Didn't hurt. I knew nothing about the murder until I met Lois at a book signing at a writer's convention, Mr. Perry. So he's collecting evidence and all that crap to plant at a murder from 30 years ago. And I'm like, okay, well, like Caitlin was shot in the head. My fingerprints now don't look anything like they did back then because you have incidentals on your hands, like cuts, scrapes, scars. I've burned myself. I've cut myself a shit ton of times between then and now. So they don't look the same. I've never shot a gun. I don't own a gun. I've never owned a gun. I've never shot a gun. I've never held a gun. It's not my thing. I don't care if other people want to have a gun. I don't. So what's he do? He sends this Mickey James into my work, telling me he's DEA retired firearms instructor of feds and police. So I'm starting to name some guys that I met that are feds. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? Do you know FBI, U.S. Marshals, blah, blah, blah? You know any of those people? Never heard of them. Okay, then I'm thinking, you're full of shit. You work for Charles Perry. And then he looks at me and he goes, you want me to take you shooting? Yeah, so you can get my fingerprints on the gun that you want to plant? Is that what you're trying to do here? Why the fuck would you give a fuck whether who are you? That guy's a Native American, so that's federal under McGirt, Mr. Perry. I'm going to tell you something. You are fucking with the wrong people here. If they can get that to me in jail, that's power. All those guys that got that to me, Mr. Perry, they can get a date and you can't. Everybody's really sick of you wasting their time with repeating. So I guess they found somebody else. I don't know who it is that's dead. I didn't have anything to do with it. What I will tell you this is, Mr. Perry, you know how this chick, this TikTok stalker girl, she goes, I'm getting followed all the time. Pretty soon it just becomes routine. I said the same thing. It's just routine. I know how to ditch a tail. It's just routine. It's like brushing my teeth. That's pathetic. When some ugly man thinks you're supposed to be his bitch and he just goes, makes you feel raped every day. It doesn't go both ways. You're not wanted. You're the butt in. See, they understood my words the first time without a special ed teacher having to explain it to them. Perry, you need to keep up. You're irritating people. So, Fabian and Hope intersect. It's surrounded by sadness and fear. Boo is a private joke between one of these cops and I. Charles, I've known him a lot longer than I know you. If I did some sort of murder, they would have thrown me in jail. So I'm at work one night. They're trying to find out who is leaking, who's ratting the, blah, blah, blah. They've been doing that for a long time. And this guy from Broken Arrow Police Department comes into my work. We used to call him Broken Arrow Bill. He's sex crimes guy, and his friend who is I don't know if he's Tulsa County Sheriff or if he was Tulsa County Police, but he's a police officer. Those two come in off duty, and the one that was with Tulsa County Police or Sheriff's Department is bald. So we call him Mr. Clean. So we called Broken Arrow Bill and Mr. Clean. So those guys were asking me one night, who are you close to? Who do you hang out with? Which dancers do you know? Because at this point, they're trying to figure out who's leaking. Who's the leaks. So we'll find out who she's close to, and that's probably who's leaking. I look at him and I go, I don't socialize with anybody in here. All of these girls are people that I work with. I come here, I work, I go home, and that's it. I don't interact with anybody more than 10, 15 minutes. If I was at work, it was a customer. So I interacted with them on a professional level for however long they paid for my time. Mr. Perry has gaslighted me and gone at me and used people I trust like he tried to do on the 18th, used my family and used Manford Police to hurt me for a decade. So I don't trust a fucking person. Everybody is a bad guy until they're not. I don't trust anybody. And the first thing I'm doing when I'm talking to anybody at all, like Mickey James or like Pinto or like Terry Wagner or like, who's the other one? Joel. Anybody. I'm asking questions immediately, right out of the gate to try to find out, do you work for them? Did you come in here to get information that you're going to use to hurt me? Or are you just a regular customer doing regular normal things? So Mickey James let his right out of the bat. I mean, immediately I'm asking him, do you know this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy? And he didn't know any of them. So you're full of shit. Because you would have known at least one of them. Right? You don't do shit. You came in here to get me to a shooting range so you could get my handprints on a gun they want to plant. On a murder frame up. So Terry Wagner is the same way. Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, I ask him, I have a customer that's in road construction too. His name was Dave Robertson. He's with Dynamic Shot. You know him? Never heard of him. Wow, you've done road construction in Oklahoma for 40 years? Yeah. And you never heard of David Robertson? Never even heard of him? No, you'd think I would. Yeah, wrong answer. Wrong answer. Because you would have at least heard of him, if not met him, doing business in the same industry, in the same state for 40 years. I used to do medical in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's 2 million people in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've met people here and in Texas that also were in the medical business in Vegas. We all know the same people. We know the same cardiologists. We know the same doctors. Know the same ET nurses. There's about two ET nurses that everybody knows. So, I did business in Las Vegas for like 10 years. In 10 years, I know people in the industry. You've been here 40. You never heard of David Robertson? Come on with that. Wrong answer. Immediately I knew. Not only do you know him, he probably sent you in here. We start digging. We start saying we're going to show you're using him as a conduit of coercion. If you think I'm doing what you want, you're going to send him in to buy dances and spend money on me. If you think I'm not, you're going to pull him out. That's coercion. That's coercion. We did it. It worked. Because nobody goes in a strip club on the night their wife dies. But he did. He texted me. Are you working tonight? I want to come in. Wow, okay. Well, you just texted me and said you're distraught over your wife being sick with cancer. And then now all of a sudden you want to come in and it's the night she dies. I pulled the obit. Rory Wagner used to work at the auction. Died on August 2nd. Here you are. You want to come in on the night your wife dies? They knew they needed information. That's why he wanted to come in that night. Why the fuck would anyone do that? That's sick. I think that's fucked up sick. So, I have my ways of asking questions or withholding information to kind of see. Everybody, you have Myers ask, are you a cop? Well, okay, so if I have not interacted with anybody for more than about 10-15 minutes because I don't trust anybody, how am I going to get mad at somebody? There was one girl that I danced with named Monica, excellent on the pole. She didn't like me. That didn't go both ways. I liked her just fine. I took her actions as immature. And everyone knew it. Look, I like her fine. I think she's fantastic on the pole. In fact, one night, she was jealous of me because I did pole too. So, one night some guys come in and she gets up on stage. And I look at them and I go, watch this chick, she's really good. Not one day has this girl been nice to me, ever. Not one day. I look at him and I don't care. I'm dismissive. I don't dignify it with a response. Not one day is she nice to me. Whatever. If she's not dead, who is it that you guys killed and want to frame me for? That you need my shoe print, Richard. The fuck? So so I'm telling these guys, there's about 5 of them sitting around me. I'm like, watch this chick, she's really good on the pole. She gets up on the pole, flips me off. One of the guys had walked up to the stage to give her a tip. He turned around and looked at me and he goes, what in the fuck is that? And I go, I don't know. He came back and he goes, I was going to tip her until she did that. We're done. I was going to buy a dance from her too. I'm not going to now because she acted like that. So that problem, I didn't hate her. She hated me. She's immature. She's jealous, whatever. He goes, you were just so complimentary of her. And she does that. And I'm like, every night, every time she does that. I don't let it faze me. I don't even care. I don't care what she thinks. So he was like, well, she just lost a dance. I was going to tip her and give her a dance. And he did. He had his money ready to throw on the stage until she flipped me off. He turned around and walked off. That's how I handle conflict, Mr. Perry. If I wanted to kill someone, it would be you. I have every reason in the world to want you dead. Because when you're dead, I don't have to deal with this anymore. I'm not peeped on anymore. I have my privacy back. I don't have somebody trying to frame me for something all the time. I'm going to find a way to put her back in jail and she's going to do what I say, God damn it. Right. Say that to my face, sir. Once you're gone, whether it be dead or in prison, I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. So if I have a motive to hurt somebody, it would be you. And yet you're fine. You haven't had a hair on your head harmed at all. Because you've been doing this to me for 10 years. If I wanted you dead, you would have been dead before you did my false arrest. Before you had a chance to hurt Lucky and Mike. But you're not. That's not my way. That's not my way. I don't have a gun. Never had a gun. Never shot a gun. Mickey James would not have come to my work and asked to take me shooting if your claims were legitimate, would he? You wouldn't need to do that, would you? You're dealing with guys that could get this to me in jail. That's power, sir. These people are classy, dignified people. They get what I say the first time. We don't have to repeat ourselves at all. In fact, sometimes they finish my sentences. And with you, you're so stupid. We have to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And everybody is sick and tired of it. Everybody's tired of this bullshit of yours. Your imaginary romance. It's only real to you. I don't like you. I don't. With this TikTok stalker, you have people on her TikTok going, she had to say leave me alone 6 fucking times. And then he's asking her about her clothes. Why are you dressed like a prostitute? No one asked you? Go the fuck away. No one asked you what you think. You were not asked. And whatever typing you're doing in my phone today trying to tell me, I don't care. Get the fuck out of my phone. I don't care. Whatever happened with you and Ted Hogan, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I don't care. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. You guys are blocking my emails to Philip. The only reason I email Philip at Lubbock Public Defender's Office is because you keep threatening a second false arrest. So I've got my defense prepared already. And then all of a sudden you start blocking my emails to him. He can get it in 4 other ways. Everything goes to Philip. Everything. He has 4 ways of getting it. But why do I need to do that if you're not threatening a second false arrest, sir? I haven't been in Lubbock for 8 years. I left. November 2013, I left to get away from you. To get away from your stalking and your harassment and blah, blah, blah. Nobody should have known I was going to be in Sand Springs on the 18th of December in order to call my school and go, her registration is going to be behind. It was due on the 15th. It's paid now. I did have to pay a little late fine. Hold up her money from her school. She's going to need it to register her car, renew the registration. We took her taillights out. We're going to have somebody take her driver's license, send her into Manfred, and have them fuck her over for us. Because we need there to be division here between those two. Because of Mike Neely. We killed him. We don't want anybody knowing that. We already know. We already know. You are off your nut if you think you covered that up. You did not. We'll get him out of jail because you failed. And you're going to be there and you're going to wish you had done it. Believe me. When we give you the opportunity to fix a problem yourself and you fail, I promise you, that's going to be something you're going to wish to God you could redo that. If they can get this to me in jail, Charles, what else can they do? What else can they do? You don't understand what you're dealing with. You are fucking with the wrong people. You are in over your head. And you're the weak link for your whole criminal organization. You brought the heat on. You bring the heat on every time you contact me, and I've told you to shut up and go away. You're the one doing that. They have you to thank. You're like the MRSA. You heard of MRSA? It's a virus. You get it in the hospital. It's a nosocomial infection. You get it, and it will eat your whole body up unless they cut off your arm or your leg or whatever started it. So if you get it on your hand, they usually have to cut your hand off. Or it goes through the whole body and it will kill you dead. You're that. I want nothing to do with you. You're delusional. You make me want to throw up. You make everybody want to throw up. And you're a cop killer. So the only way you could have known that I was going to even be in Manfred to work for weeks on this is hacking, peeping. I call my family, and I told you to stay the fuck away from all my family. So we hear that you then, when that didn't work out, that you wanted me pulled over by Manfred. And oh shit, where's my driver's license? You had one of Craig and Dana's friends ready. See, I'm going to tell you something. Whatever you ask Craig and Dana to do, and whatever you ask their friend Braden to do, take my driver's license out of my purse, when I'm outside talking to Craig about my car, because you probably, everyone knew I was going to talk to Craig about my car, right? Those people have no problem with me because we know you threatened. You killed a cop. You killed a cop. You have threatened and harassed the fuck out of me every fucking day. It's just I've got more balls than you, and I get right back in your face with it, don't I? And nobody's done that to you before, have they? I've heard you guys talking. Nobody's ever talked to us like this before. Oh, I'm from Vegas. I don't know, you better figure out what that world is. It's not this one. It's not like this world. Mafia's in Vegas, Mr. Perry. I don't care what they tell you. It is. They're a lot smarter than your little Irish bullshit here. So what I'm going to tell you right now is, then they're like, well, we staked out Good Deal for a week. But why did you think I was going to go to Good Deal? I don't have any need to go to Good Deal. But what I did is in my house, on the phone, in the privacy of my home, I did say something to that effect, that I might go buy Good. So we're going to start doing that more, putting misinformation out when I'm in my house. So the only way you could know about it, hacking, peeping, bullshit like that. Sicko shit, Mr. Perry. You're a sex offender. Voyeurism is a crime, and it's a sex crime. You're a sex offender. You sit there pretending, like some 1-year-old little girl watching Frozen, pretending that's her life, or some little kid watching Toy Story. Or my son used to play like he was Steve from Blue's Clues. He had the clothes and everything. Go watch Blue's Clues. Go put that green shirt on, that green striped shirt on Steve would wear. I had a chair. I had a maroon wingback chair. He'd sit in that chair and he had his little handy dandy notebook. You don't do anything that a 1-year-old little girl can't do. You think I'm going to want somebody like that who hurts people? You are off your nut. Never going to happen. So we hear you came up here. You got a forged marriage license. You wave that around to everybody. You get information illegally using that. By the way, the guy did point out, even my wife has to sign a bank loan. She still has to sign it. He's making spousal decisions, and he's not her spouse. And he's using a forgery to do it. Lucky asked me about that, Mr. Perry. Did you sign a marriage license? Fuck no. There's been no ceremony. There's no vows exchanged. And now somebody goes, we've been looking to see if there's a wedding ring. There's no wedding ring. We've been looking. I don't know who those people are, but apparently they've been where I've been looking for a wedding ring. And I don't have one. I don't have one. There was no ceremony. There was nothing. Mr. Perry has a marriage fraud problem. He's all about the fraud. We got 6 fraud cases, Mr. Perry. Every time you go into a court and you lie, or you conceal material facts that are pertinent, could have changed the outcome. Right? You are something. Racketeering and fraud. 18. Title 18 of the United States Code. 1512, 1513. You do that to me every fucking day, all day long. You're gonna need an alibi. People are already calling to find out when's the last time you saw Charles Perry in Lubbock with his wife. I don't like you. You make all my skin crawl. I feel absolutely nothing for you but deep, deep, deep disgust. And you want to do some murder frame up? I don't talk to anybody for more than 10, 15 minutes because I don't trust anybody. I have confiding... the guys that got me this puzzle, that's who I confide in. That's who I trust, and nobody else. Because you cause people to feel threatened and harassed and scared and afraid. So they lie for you, or they'll ask me all the questions you want asked. Right? They'll tell me, they'll go get my driver's license out of my purse. They'll tell me go to Manford and get something. Manford's going to pull her over and fuck with her for us. Because we need to cause division between her and Manford so she won't defend Mike so hard. Oh my God. But you got caught. Oh my God. That's pathetic. You are pathetic. Pathetic and desperate. Right, Mr. Perry? So you sent Broken Arrow Bill in to ask me which girls are you close to? Or the other. It was actually not him that asked me that. It was the Mr. Clean guy sitting next to him. Bill actually did not ask me that ever. The guy was with Bill, Broken Arrow Bill. Sex crimes guy, off duty. So they wanted to know which girls are you close to, and I go, none. I don't socialize with anybody here. I come in, I do my job, I leave. So how am I going to get close to anybody bad, to be mad, to murder? Who's dead? Who the fuck is dead, Mr. Perry? You're full of shit. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. $25 million. Most expensive uncovered up cover-up ever, right? These, were me telling Fabian the night David Robertson came in, because we talked about Fabian, so I'm telling about it here. It's his name on that puzzle, nobody else's. And it was not just some random time. It was in jail. How did they get that to me? In jail. What else is in the book you don't know anything about that I didn't highlight or talk about? You'll never know. I'll never say. It's not your business. You're a butt-in. See the word me? You're a selfish butt-in. So there's about 4 things that we use and exploit that we sat down. Here's what we do, Mr. Perry. It's not hard. You have a goal in mind. You have a desired outcome in mind. And then you set up a strategy to get there. One of those goals is put the bad guy in jail and relieve the suffering he's causing. And go to the victims and say, you're safe now. We got the bad guy. He can't hurt you anymore. You're safe. That's the goal. Relieve suffering caused by your crime. We're all sick of it. Everybody that's listening to this that works for Charles is the best you can do to be the bitch of a sex weirdo. That's the best you've got. That's the best you can do. You're pathetic. How embarrassing for you. All of you. When you fuck with me, it's a very distinct pattern. You get caught and told on. I don't need to go see Mo at Good Deal. I don't have any reason to go see him. If you staked him out for a week waiting for me to go by there, then you got the misinformation we put out. And we put it out on purpose because you shouldn't think I need to go there. What we're going to do from here on out is exploit that. We're going to put misinformation out as much as possible and watch you react. Voyeurism is a crime, sir. It's sick. You're sicko. You're twisted. Hacking is a crime, sir. You're butting into stuff that does not concern you. Oh, I have ADD, so sometimes I'll start a story and I get off on a tangent and I forget to finish it. We had the guy that said he forged this marriage license. He's waving it around everywhere, saying that's his wife. He's making spousal decisions for her. He's not her spouse. He's a Looney Tune. He's inserted himself in her life in Oklahoma. He's been seen hanging out with her family, her friends, her coworkers. But after 6 years, he's always by himself. People started wondering about him, like something's wrong with him. Because he's never with her. She sued him 3 times trying to get rid of him. 11 times asked for a protective order or an injunctive order. And the guy he said that to said, gosh, if that's all you have to do to be married these days, I'm married to Jennifer Aniston. Wow. That is insane right there. That is fucked up insane. I don't like you, Mr. Perry. I won't have anything to do with you. If you get anywhere near me, I will fuck you up. You have no idea. I'm not going to wait to see if you have a syringe on you or a gun and that you hurt me. My guys have told me, the guys that got me this, Captain Gimpy, that's power, sir. That's power. That's some investigating skills, isn't it? You listen to my deposition with Myers and Mitchell, you can't tell that's what I'm doing. You can't tell I'm doing a sting op, can you? I'm very good at what I do, Captain Gimpy. It's called dragon slaying. You should try it sometime, and that way you can go to the victims and say, you're safe now. We caught the bad guy, and he will never hurt you again, instead of having to go to the media and explain why you didn't do shit. And now we have a dead police chief. You had a clean obstruction of justice. This thing today was about why the hell did Tulsa police give her police report over to the stalker? And why did you? This one. Why the fuck did Tulsa police give a police report over to a stalker? Why did you? You know, I've never tried to find out who did that. Who at Tulsa police gave my confidential private police report over to a stalker, who then obstructed justice, destroyed my evidence, and committed perjury, had me illegally detained for 2 months while my blood evidence, the arsenic poisoning, worked itself out of my blood. And all my forensic blood evidence that would prove I was being poisoned is gone. Because let me tell you something. They tried to go in there and have a shrink say, oh, they're not stalking her, she's just crazy. So instead, okay, a psychological, I was never evaluated for mental illness. What I was evaluated for is competency to stand trial. I've got a 3.9 GPA. You won't let me in a courtroom against 5 attorneys. I think I'm pretty damn competent. Or you'd let me in the courtroom. The first hearing I was actually in, Mr. Perry's motion to dismiss was denied. I got this. I always did. I owned a business. I helped you get elected. You're full of crap. Everything else is subjective. But you know what's not subjective? A blood test. That's objective data. Pull the blood. It's either got arsenic in it or it doesn't. And you caused the loss of that. While you guys walked around with your heads up your ass trying to find a shrink to say I'm crazy. Instead of looking at the forensic evidence. Either I'm being poisoned or I'm not. Either you're stalking me or you're not. Either you're trying to kill me or you're not. There's nothing political about anything. Mr. Powell and Judge Hanson should have demanded and required that you present evidence that 1, there was a false police report, and 2, it was politically motivated. And you didn't have evidence of either one. You had me arrested within a week. Nobody investigated shit. By law, I had to file a police report. I don't call Tulsa police for anything. I don't need them. I have Fabian Puzzle police. That's who I confide in. It's not anybody around me. I don't trust anybody because you fucked with everybody so bad. Nobody trusts anybody. I don't trust anybody. Captain Gimpy. You know where that came from? So, one of our guys tells us, they got a guy over at Tulsa Police telling the captain, don't go gimpy on her, man. You need to get her back and you need to stay strong and do the right thing because that's the right thing to do. Do not go gimpy on her. And there's a little more to it that I'm not going to divulge about that conversation. Well, he went gimpy, so we call him Captain Gimpy. That the best you can do, sir? That's, everybody has a choice. You can choose to make excuses, and that's what you choose. And I'm sorry for you. I would hope you could do better than that. Who's the Sheriff Rowan in this deal? The bitch of a sex weirdo. God. You can do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and then you have something to be proud of for your kids. My granddad went through shit. I watched him. It wasn't easy. And he has something that we're all proud of. I'm bragging about it now. He died in 2004. His name is on the front door of the police station where he was the chief to this day. That's the choices he made. It's hard, but I'm going to do the right thing, even when it's hard. Yeah, that's your character. That shows who you are. Without adversity, you can't see what you're made of. What's inside you. What's your character? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? Adversity will bubble up all of that, whether you like it or not. And we all have adversity. When I met Governor Rick Perry, I had my kids with me, and he asked one of my kids, I think my older one, Tristan, he said, how you like school? How's school going? And Tristan said, it's so much tests. It's a lot of testing. I'm kind of tired of it, of all the tests. And Rick said the most wise, incredible thing I've ever heard in my life. He goes, but that's what life is. Life is lessons and tests. Lessons and tests. All your life, that's all it is. Lessons and tests. So, get used to it. That's, when you grow up, it's no different. It's just not on a piece of paper. Lessons and tests. You're going to fail some. You need to learn from it and move on. And I was like, wow, that is a cool thing to say to my kids and a great thing to say to my kids. Governor Perry said that to my kids. Governor Rick Perry. So, that's what it is. But we have choices every day. You build a legacy, or you have something you got to explain away. How do I explain this? How do I cover this up? I don't know what to do. What do I say? What am I going to do? Who can I threaten to make them lie for me? Most of us don't have to do that. We don't have to have those kind of internal conversations. Who can I get to lie for me? Who can I push and shove and make them say what I want? And how can I make this lie work and make that lie work? It's very disgusting to the rest of the world. Captain Gimpy, you can be the hero or not. That's up to you. You can be the hero, or you can be the bitch of a sex weirdo, like Sheriff Rowan on Clarice, CBS Paramount. That's what he said. She got every bitch at the courthouse, pushing the right buttons at the right time in the right way. And I'm not a whole lot different than that chick. I did a sting up and nobody knew what the fuck I was doing, right? So we have this is how long I've been saying, I don't want a scandal. I want him to leave me the fuck alone. Right? He's gonna take my car. That's what the guy said yesterday, Mr. Perry. Perry tears up her cars and then wants them impounded. Every fucking car she's got. I'm repeating myself. Guess what else? Everyone's tired of the need to repeat for you. We are busy, Charles. We have stuff to do. If you can't keep up, hire a special education teacher to help you understand what a 6-year-old can fucking understand. I'm tired. We're all tired of it. This, I believe, was Chief Miller. He's wanting to get her on harassment. She keeps to herself. Like the guy said yesterday, she won't talk to anybody for about 10-15 minutes. No one. Since she's been here. Charles ruined her trust in everybody. He's even now trying to blow up the trust in her family and Manford Police. He's gaslighting her, thinking that's going to make her like him. That's not how that works. That is not how that works, sir. You don't know how to get women to like you, do you? You don't do it peeping. You don't do it hacking. You don't do it causing suffering. That's not how it works. You respect the rights and wishes of other people. I'm going to tell you something. I decided a long time ago that I have a rule in my life with who I date, who I fall in love with, who I have a romantic relationship with. If you would go out on your wife with me, you would go out on me with anybody else. And so there will not be a situation in which I have an affair with a married man. I told you that in Lubbock. I said, I'm not going to be your error in judgment or your scandal or your mistress. I will not be anybody's damn mistress. If things aren't working out in your marriage, get a divorce, and then we'll see from there. If you would go out on Jackie with me, you'll go out on me with somebody else, and I will never trust you. Somebody's going to see you stalking me. That's a whole different ball of worms I don't want anything to do with. You don't come to restaurants looking for me. You do not hack my phone, and you do not pull up behind my house and watch me in my backyard. You want to talk to me, you do it the normal way. And I said that to you over and over and over and over. You're going to ruin my career and yours. Somebody else is going to see you. And I said the same thing to Ben Campbell. And Ben Campbell's response was, you don't want us to ruin your career, do you? Wow. How about thank you for letting me know there's a problem I should address now before it is a problem. The best time to avoid handle a crisis is before there's a fucking crisis. This is common sense. But these guys don't have any of that, or we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? So this was Chief Miller. She stays to herself. He calls here and wastes our time. Big complaint, Mr. Perry, Mr. Powell, Mr. Burson, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Chadwick. They're wasting too much of our time. Boom. Okay. So go work, and then you won't have that problem, that complaint. What I wanted this time here, Mr. Tepper, watch Mr. Perry on his computer and on his phone, because I wanted you guys to catch him. I'm not going to tell you what's wrong. You figure out what's wrong. You watch him, and then you catch him. I'm way over here in Dallas, Texas. I don't give a fuck about Charles Perry. You know who I care about? Fabian. I moved on. There's that. Okay, so, I don't know what that... Oh, this is Cheryl. What the fuck are you doing coming to a restaurant where I'm eating? What the fuck are you doing sending your staff to watch me? And those guys in Manford said, you know how many times I've sent my secretary to spy on a woman who is not my wife in a restaurant? Or gone there looking personally? Or on a woman that's not my wife, or even my wife, he said. Never, because it's weirdo. You got my information from hacking me. I'm going to make sure I exploit that now. Because I'm getting the desired outcomes I want. You're getting rejected and told on. Are those the desired outcomes you had a long time ago? Nobody needs to stake out Good Deal. I have no plans to go to Good Deal. Don't need to. Mo hasn't done anything to you. Leave him the fuck alone. Leave Manford Police the fuck alone. Leave my family, my friends, and my kids the fuck alone. You weren't invited into my life here. I came here to get away from you. And I did not come up here, David Robertson, to pick a fight with you. You picked one with me. And when you picked one with me, and you too, Tulsa Police, when you guys picked a fight with me, you picked one with the cops that gave me the Fabian puzzle in jail. And you don't know who those guys are. It's a need to know. Had you done it right, Captain Gimpy, they probably called you. Hang on a second. Okay, so this was going on. This was in 2014, but it actually happened, she says, in 2012. You know, I haven't registered to vote or voted since then. I didn't want to have to interact with you, Mr. Perry. You make my skin crawl. This is the McNamara email. It is dated October 29th, 2015. Mr. Perry is threatening a false arrest, and you have not stopped. You are still trying to do this. You're just varying the details. That's it. Everyone knows it. You're not fooling anybody. Look, you're slow, but everyone else is not. Get a special education teacher to help you understand words, because it drives us nuts that you don't. It really, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard, that somebody can say something to you and it does not click. When you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get told on. When you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get told on. I have help. I can't do that alone. Who is helping me is not your business. Nothing in my life is any of your business. Do not peep, do not hack, do not bother me at all. Do not contact my family, do not contact my kids. Leave me the fuck alone. And our shrink has expressed great concern that you're not embarrassed, just as some other people have. Why is he not embarrassed by this stuff that he does? It is weirdo. Weirdo. Do you know, as I've told everybody, I was pursuing a college degree in psychology, and ended up taking a bunch of criminal justice classes as electives, and then just recently changed my major. One of the classes I've taken, 2 or 3 of them actually, sociology and criminology, we have to study why the fuck do people do stuff like you're doing. Ted Bundy, BTK, Jeffrey Dahmer, Andrew Cunanan. Why do people do fucked up shit to other people? That's the study of criminology. In the process of studying criminology, we had to do we had a lesson on Lonnie Athens' work he wrote a book called Why Do They Kill People? They have, there's so many Netflix specials and originals on why the fuck do people do that shit to each other. Okay, so clearly everybody has that question when one person harms another person on purpose, intentionally. Why the fuck would anyone do that shit? Okay, so Lonnie Athens is researching it. He is the victim of child abuse bad child abuse as a kid. So he chose to study crime for a living rather than turn around and use that as an excuse to fail and hurt other people. You've made me the victim of your crime for 10 years, and you don't see me using that as an excuse to fail and hurt other people. We all have choices. We all have choices. So, Lonnie Athens said, people often who are violent offenders were victims of brutalization and victimization as children. And they just, 1% though, he said, only 1% of the population becomes a violent offender. 1% can't do it. And the 99% can. And you've got all the money in the world to buy a doctor. And instead of buying a doctor, you bought a cover-up, and you didn't get the cover-up. and you'll never get a date with me. Is that the desired outcome on your goal sheet 6 years ago? We want to get caught every time, and no date. We're going to use the voyeurism and the hacking. We already kind of have. We're going to use it to exploit your weaknesses. The same as you've got a problem with sociopath. You don't have human emotions. You're void of it. So you never factor that into your plans. And that's one reason your plans fail every fucking time. Every fucking time. And why is Tulsa Sheriff Department or police, I don't even know where this guy worked. Why are they sending someone into my work to find out which girls I'm close to? With Broken Arrow Bill and I went to breakfast. So I'm not gonna get into all that. But I'm gonna just say he came in off duty. He came in. He doesn't work in Inola. He works in Broken Arrow. He does sex crimes, and he got a VIP with me, and then I made him take me to breakfast, and so he's been out there. I haven't seen him in a long time though, but what'd you do? Call Broken Arrow police and say, can you send a guy out and ask her who she's close to? I mean, what'd you do? The guy, I'm going to tell you something. The guy that asked me that question was laughing. Like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever had to do. He did not appear to be enjoying himself. He acted like we have all talked about how you're not going to answer questions for us. No matter how much we ask, there might be somebody coming in here to talk to you, and you're not going to answer the question. So I'm going to ask you the question because I've been told I have to. Or, what'd you do? Pay him a couple $100? One guy told me that. I need money. I need you to tell me your real name. That bigwig that's stalking you wants me to come in here and get you to say your real name. And I wouldn't do it. And he was drunk off his ass. And he goes, can you please just help me? Can you please just tell me your real name? I need the money. I'm broke. I was like, wow. He's actually telling me that. They're going to pay me $200 if I can get you to say my real name. And I'm so broke. Please just say your real name. I was like, oh my God. Mickey James, Terry Wagner, Joel. But some of those cops, Mr. Perry, that you had going there to ask me questions, they weren't, they laughed at it. It was a joke. It was a fucking joke. People don't like, just like this thing from Lucky, that Lucky said, they don't want to be involved in your weirdo problem. And they are not. Mr. Clean was cool as fuck. We had a great time hanging out after he asked me the weird question. And I actually answered that question honestly. I'm not close to any of these girls. I don't socialize with them. I come here, I work. I'm nice, I'm friendly. I ask how they're doing. There's been more than once where I've given one of them money that she didn't make money all fucking night long. Needed money for gas. I gave it to her. Whichever one it was. But these aren't people. These girls are not people that first of all, there's a huge age gap. So that's one thing. Just different goals, different lifestyles, different ways of doing things. So I never socialized with any girl that I danced with, ever. Didn't socialize with them. I would say the girls in Stillwater maybe I socialized with more than anybody else. Heavenly. But it wasn't really socializing. It was maybe a little bit more interactions than other people because she taught me pole and stuff. So, but as far as like I go to dinner or I go hang out or I go to a bar or I do this, not with the girls I dance with. So when he asked me the question, I answered him honestly, and I don't trust anybody. You always want to find out where Mr. Wagner wanted to give me furniture. Well, how would he know I needed furniture? He shouldn't know I needed furniture. But he did know I needed furniture because you got cameras in my house, right? I'm going to exploit that. I'm going to exploit the shit out of it. The next thing I'm going to do is you're going to, he's going to find out where I live. Fuck no. Fuck no. All you had to do is leave me the fuck alone. All you had to do is leave me the fuck alone. Your actions are disgusting and illegal. I moved to get away from you and to not have a conflict. I did not come up here to pick a fight with any cop, with Mr. Robertson, or anybody at all. I came up here to get away from all that. To get away from it. Okay? So, there's this. Lucky and those guys in Manford were sick and tired of you calling. She keeps to herself. She doesn't bother anybody. They've called us and said, made some allegations against her. When we look into it, there's nothing to it. We're sick and tired of it. Is that why you killed him? Is that why you now want to cause a conflict between me and Manford Police? I haven't even been out there. Had I gone on the 18th, had you not taken all my money so I couldn't even afford gas? So you guys did this thing that you shouldn't have known I was even going to be there, and you worked weeks on putting that together, and it was a bust because David took all my money, so I didn't have any. Then you guys were fucking around with my Uber Eats app, so it wasn't working right. So the night before, when I worked Uber Eats, that wasn't working right, so I didn't make as much as I could have. Time is money in that business. You start fucking around with the GPS, and you start... Listen, I have a hell of a time with directions as it is. I have some mental block on directions. If I'm pulling out and I'm supposed to go right, it never fails. I go left. Every fucking time. It drives me nuts. Everybody has something they're strong in. Everybody has something they're weak in. That's mine. I have that. And math. 2 + 2 is math. And oh shit, I think I said, Mr. Perry takes $10,000 and gives me 30. He still owes me 9,000. I gave him the wrong number. I do every time. I don't know why. It's 9,970 you owe me. I think I said 8 and I meant 9. But I can't, I have a hell of a time with math too. That's not a strong point for me. But I can outsting up anybody you send me. I do it in the first 30 seconds. I know exactly what they want. I know exactly why they're there. And I know exactly how I'm going to fuck with them. And nobody's caught your crime like we have. Nobody. I can't do it by myself, though. So, when you sent a cop in, Broken Arrow Bill, or when you sent in Mr. Clean, that's how they see it. They're cops, Mr. Perry. They can tell something's up with you. You're not right in the head. Bill asked me about, do you know what erotomania is? Delusional erotomania? Do you know what that is? And I was like, yeah, I do know what that is. I do know what that is. I think you're dealing with that. Yeah, I think I'm dealing with that too. Because I was raised in a elected official's home. I lived in Vegas. I'm not impressed with any kind of, I was around famous people a lot. That doesn't, some little podunk nobody from tech, it's not going to impress me. That's not power. I helped him get there. What am I going to be impressed with that for? I grew up in it. Didn't those guys from Manford, I think it was Michael Neely actually, maybe, I don't know. Again, I'm not told. He said, I think Cynthia grew up in a house of power. I didn't even think of this. I think Cynthia grew up in the home of an elected official and the police chief. Her family was the power in the town where she grew up. She grew up in that. So she has no problem relating to people in power like Harry Reid. We're going to miss Senator Reid, by the way. So, what is this? What the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you are? I'm asking them to watch him because I want them to catch him. I don't want to tell them Charles has cameras on my house and he's hacked me. I don't want to tell them that. I want them to watch him and find it for themselves. That's why I said that. This says you'll leave me the fuck alone. And yet you're not. This, Judge Egan should have made a determination as to whether or not that is a binding contract, and she didn't. Because you guys had to dismiss it with a phone call, didn't you? And res judicata requires a trial. It has to be a trial, fair trial, in order for it to be res judicata. That's not what that was, Mr. Perry. You want to get my car. Everyone knows that. You want to use me as a harassment test. We're going to harass the shit out of her. Like, do something to her at her family's or use Manford Police. Cause a conflict. Cause strife. Where there's not strife and where there's not a conflict. Is you don't like me defending Michael Neely because he did not do anything. He didn't do it. And you thought if you could cause a conflict between me and Manford Police, I'd back off? Wow, you're off your nut. It's not how I think. It's not even how I think. So you have no human emotions. You don't care who you hurt or how bad you hurt them. But everybody else isn't like that. We don't have that disease. So we factor in human emotions and proper reactions. We can anticipate the proper reaction, and you can't. And we've exploited that. So you want to do this. That's what this was about. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear from those people again. They're the ones harassing her. She never calls us. And I don't. I don't need to. I'll only go to locals if I need to. File a police report because I need to. If it comes out that you're the one that did it, get a protective order. That's what happened in Manford. Somebody vandalized my car. I think it might have been my stalker. I don't know anybody else this weird. But I could be wrong. Once you've made a determination as to who fucking did this to my car, if it's my stalker, then I can take it to court and get a protective order. Officer Neely, why wouldn't he agree with me? That's the law in Oklahoma. 6 days later, he can't, because now he's illegally detained. He also didn't get a blood test. He got one at the hospital after the Narcan chemically altered his system so that he was awake now. We needed the test when he was asleep, when he was knocked out from the opioids. Altered the evidence. Charles Perry loves to alter or destroy evidence. Okay, this is where I told everybody in March 2020, Mike didn't do it. He was drugged and not tested until he got to the hospital. Sure shit. What does that say? This is what you were doing in Manford. Black SUV again. Boy, that black SUV. Lexus, whatever. Everybody saw what you were doing. You think you're going to cause a conflict for me and Manford Police? I haven't even been out there. You're trying to coax me? This was to the U.S. Attorney. 2015, August. 2 police officers. He's trying to find a way to false arrest you. We told him no. That doesn't mean somebody won't do it. There's an asshole out there. I promise you he'll find one that'll do it. Watch everything you do and everything you say. Be careful. I wish there was something we could do. It's above us. They didn't tell me what police department they were with. It could have been a bunch of them. Could have been Tahlequah, could have been Muskogee, could have been Inola, could have been Pryor, could have been Choteau, could have been Mays County, could have been Rogers County, could have been Tulsa. I don't know. But I wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney when it happened. When these things happened, I documented it. I'm supposed to testify for Mike. I did a sting-up. You want to know who was the victims, right? You like coaxing people to a place where you're going to hurt them. Like Manford, maybe? It was a bust. Because you also took my money. Then I didn't have the money to go out there. And then you fucked with my app. So I couldn't make money the night before. That's what you get. You stepped in, Lord caused them to fall in the pit they dug for me. There you go. There's that. It's not going to vindicate you to kill me or do a false arrest. It's pissing everybody off. There's the arrest report. Nothing on the arrest report says he had no injuries, but a red swollen right hand and a busted lip from after the fight. Hotel John threw him face first into the floor. A victim of attempted murder. In his right hand, he has got an IV, Detective Fife. We're impressed with you. How dare you do this to a fellow police officer? How fucking dare you do that? We're not happy. That's what somebody looks like. He was just in a fight. He was hit 3 times. He said the beer in my hand didn't even slosh out. He was in Vegas. Look at that. He doesn't have anything on him like that. Nothing. My son's got a busted lip, bruise. Nothing like that on Mike Neely, who supposedly just beat someone to death while unconscious. We're pissed at you, Mr. Perry, for what you did. The guys helping me got me that. Fabian Puzzle Police. Tulsa, I don't need you. I don't need you. For all I know, they're investigating you too. If you want to be the Sheriff Rowan in this deal and kiss the ass of a sex weirdo and be the bitch of a sex weirdo, that's certainly your choice. Then you can make excuses instead of a legacy for your family. Right? That's how this works. It's just called Life 101. Life, as Rick Perry said, is a series of lessons and tests. When you fail one, you try again. So far, we're not impressed with Tulsa police. We like Manford, and that's why they want to try to mess up my relationship with Manford. I don't really even have a relationship that you could call it. I think I had some interactions with Manford that were positive, and I'll leave it at that. But you want to cause a conflict where there's not one, Mr. Perry? Duly noted for the record. Get the fuck out of my business. All of it. Shouldn't have known I was even going to go out there. We worked on that for weeks. She just didn't go. The plans of the wicked will come to nothing. God is in control. He's not happy with you. You just cause suffering. He used to go around healing all the damage you do. When a woman says go the fuck away, go the fuck away. You will never get a date with me. You're the butt-in. You're the wannabe, never the wanted one. You're a voyeur. You're a hacker. You rather live in a pretend land. A 1-year-old little girl can do what you do. Why don't you try to change that and go fucking work? Because the outcomes that you get are you're told on and told on and told on and told on and rejected and told on. I pick up my phone first thing this morning and he's typing in it something about Ted Hogan. I don't care. Get out of my phone. No one asked you what you think. Nobody asked you what you think. I don't care. Tulsa police, I didn't come up here to pick a fight with you. Everybody's mad because you could have gotten an obstruction and you didn't. And Chief Miller is dead. And you didn't step up to help Mike. I did. I made a lot of sacrifices to help him. Whether Chief Ridley agrees with me or not. Let me tell you something what leadership is. Leadership is you make a decision and you go. And you don't give a shit what anyone else thinks or says. I did not call Chief Ridley and say, I think I'm going to defend Mike. What do you think? I don't care what Chief Ridley thinks. Don't need his permission. I respect the man because of the way he treated me. And that's it and that's all. That's it and that's all. I never picked up the phone. I never asked him for his permission to defend Mike. I never asked him if he approved or disapproved. That's not leadership, that's following. I've been a leader all my life. You make the decision, you go. You don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. You don't need anybody else's approval. I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. Somebody said that about me not long ago. When you meet Cynthia, you can tell she's fully in control of her world. In fact, she acts like she might be a little in control of yours too. Very, very confident. I don't have anything against Tulsa police except if you don't help a fellow police officer and you don't, there's a thing called equal protection. Are you misogynist? Are you discriminating against me because I'm a woman? Are you on the payroll? Why the fuck wouldn't you pursue charges of obstruction of justice? Who the hell gave my police report right over to the offender? And then you let who did that? Who the fuck did that? So, why did you do that? Did you do it because you're misogynistic and discriminatory? Because that's as bad as racism. It's not okay. Had you pursued charges of obstruction of justice, we wouldn't have a dead Lucky and an almost dead framed Mike. And where were you when he went to trial? Why weren't you doing what I did? Why didn't you look at all the evidence and go, something's wrong here? Maybe we should go to that courtroom and show support for our guy. And that room should have been full of Oklahoma law enforcement backing him up. Backing him up. Had I wanted to go, I really did, but everybody was scared to death that I would not even make it there and I'd be coming back in a body bag. So I'm gonna finish with this. Mr. Perry, I don't like you. I don't care what you think. Get the fuck out of my phone. Get the hell out of my life. We're gonna start using that. Everything you do, we're exploiting the voyeurism and the hacking. We're gonna do it. I have no reason to go to Moe's. A good deal. None. And if you thought so, and if you had that place staked out for a week, then you got information illegally obtained that we intended for you to it was misinformation. We wanted a reaction. We got one. I have no reason to go over there. Right? Every morning you guys are recorded talking about how much money does she have in her bank account. How much cash does she have on her? Is she gonna work today? Set up some Uber Eats customers with cameras in their house, and their, whatever. So we pretty much just ignore that. You couldn't know when I'm gonna work unless you have cameras in my house and you're hacking me to see when I'm using my app, right? You guys wanted me to dance. That's what. This is the second time they fucked up with my money. Second time. First one was get her out to her, Manford. And make sure she gets Manford has to show they don't like her. They don't approve. Again, never called them and said, do you approve of me? What do you think of me? Never happened. I don't care. I do what I do. I do the right thing. I don't call anybody. I don't ask anybody's permission. I don't ask what they think. I don't care. That's your way. I don't give a shit. I don't ask you what you think. I don't care. What I asked you to do is leave me the fuck alone. Comply with the law. Right? So, same thing with dancing. They ran off all her business. All we heard for 6 years is we got to get her to quit dancing. She'll come to her senses and decide she likes Charles Perry. Good God. Good God. Now that all we hear about is they want her back out there. My guys pulled me out, Mr. Perry. Pulled me out. It's too risky. It's worth it. It's worth a little bit of risk because you know how to handle the risk. And to get so that you can have some money and to get things like Pento's recording, Mickey James' text, Dave's text, so we can prove a case. Racketeering, fraud, sexual exploitation of women and children, human rights violations, blah, blah, blah. It's a long list. Organized crime. Organized fucking crime. So, I can do pretty well at the white collar bullshit. Anyways, Perry's not the first guy I've caught in white collar crime. Right? I lived in Vegas. There's somebody else that I was involved with that got caught in white collar crime. I'm not gonna, that's none of your business. So, we get, my guys say it's not worth putting you at risk to get the evidence and some money when you're coming home with fucking canned food he sends in there. $30. So, we're pulling you out. So, I haven't actually danced for a year. Haven't even been out. I think I've been out there about 3-4 times maybe. But, I don't dance anymore. And now they're talking, oh, how do we get her back out to that club? This is it, Calvin. How do we get her back out on that pole? Whose voice is that? I mean, I'm not told who it is. I hear discussions about Calvin, about Blankenship, about, who's the other one? Desiree. But I don't know if I'm hearing, I don't know if that's who I'm hearing talk. I know somebody's got a real gravelly voice, real stupid. Subjugate. Yeah, subjugate. She's not gonna mind. Am I gonna mind? Have you met me? Who says that? Is she not gonna mind us? What planet do you fucking live on? What country is this? Is this Iraq? This is a free country, sir. I'm not anything to you. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I'm nothing to you. You're out of line. You're the ones getting told on. You're the criminals. You're in a lot of trouble. You better wake up. Seems like you always forget who it is you're talking to because nobody's caught your crime like I have. You want me to mind? You're shitting me with that. Tell me that to my fucking face, whoever you are. Is she gonna mind? I cut up her credit card because she won't mind. First of all, what you did is you committed a crime to get my mail. We got that. We're gonna get you on that. Then you cut up a credit card that you shouldn't even know about. We're gonna get you on that too. Now come to me and tell me I better mind. Wow, you are off your nut. You guys, the more you talk, the more crazy you sound to everybody else. Is she not gonna mind? I'm gonna cut up a credit card. Tell me that to my fucking face. Don't you talk again about behind my back about what you're gonna do to subjugate me. Because guess what? I heard you say that on a police recording. I heard you say that on a police recording. Who the fuck do you think you are? Remember who it is you're dealing with. Remember who it is you're talking to, and remember who it is you're talking about when you make shit comments like that. Is she not going to mind? I'll cut up her credit card. I'm not your slave. Slavery ended in the Civil War, sir. I'm not your slave. I don't know you. I don't like Charles Perry. Charles Perry's about to go to prison. He's the reason you got heat on you, all of you. You have him to thank for that. When you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get told on. When you fuck with me, you get caught. When you fuck with me, you get told on. How many times do I have to repeat myself? Or quote somebody who just got recorded? Those guys can get that to me in jail. What else can they get? What else do they know we haven't said a word about? You are to leave me the fuck alone. Stay out of my mail. Get out of my phone. Mr. Perry, shut up. I don't like you. It doesn't go both ways. I have no feelings for you, but deep, deep, deep disgust. You are disturbed, sir. You are to leave me the fuck alone. And whoever said that, if she's not going to mind, I'm going to cut up her credit card. Get out of my mail. You shouldn't know there was a credit card. Get the fuck out of my mail. You tell me that to my face, or you don't say it at all. You coward. I'm not your slave. I don't know any of you. I don't like any of you. But if I got guys helping me that can do that, you better watch the fuck out. Leave me alone. Get a life and get out of mine. Perry, you have no chance of a date with me ever. You have no chance. You don't have a chance. You disgust me. For 10 years, you're rejected and told on. And that's all you got. Leave me alone. Everybody's very tired of having to repeat the same thing to you over and over and over. Get a special education teacher to help you understand English, words, grown-up words, normal words people say. Shut up and get out. I don't want to hear it. Get the fuck out. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what you think. I didn't ask you. You and I are nothing. You're rejected. You're disgusting. You're disturbing people. Cut it out. And whoever said that, if she's not going to mind, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do violent subjugation. You're going to go to jail for that. That's your choice. Act like a grown-ass man and go work and leave me the fuck alone and butt out of my business. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I know, but who I know got me that. That's what you're dealing with, sir. That's who you got to answer to, sir. Say it to my face, or don't say it at all. Do you understand me? Quit bothering everybody. Go work. Go be normal. You guys need an alibi to prove you're doing anything but what I say you're doing. Get the fuck off me. This, Mr. Perry, was the false arrest you threatened in the McNamara email. That's the McNamara email. Dated October 29, 2015. I have to recap real quick. You have to get a protective... Yeah, I didn't bring my police report. You have to do it. It's the law. In Oklahoma. You knew that. You didn't tell Judge Hanson that when you had him sign off on the false arrest, thingy, paper. This, Tulsa Police, is a report that is to remain private and confidential until there is a court proceeding. I needed blood tests. I needed to talk to a detective. I needed there to be an investigation and the proper collection of my evidence before this went anywhere. Everybody's mad about this right here. I've never asked who did this to me. I've never asked that question. I said that one is between God and you. And I'm leaving it there. But guess what? Everybody else is starting to wonder that. Who the fuck at Tulsa Police did that to her? Who did that to her? She's a victim of domestic violence. And he handed it right over to the violent offender. So, there was no investigation. I didn't get a call back. That is dated February 15, 2016. Right around the time Justice Scalia died in West Texas. What he said is, if I'm king, flag burning, you hang the guy. But I'm not king. He has, by right of the Constitution, free speech. He can burn the flag. We don't have to like it, but it's protected speech. and then he died while you're planning to perpetrate a fraud upon a court, the highest court in the land. We're going to harass the hell out of her. When she complains about it, we're going to say she's harassing us. We're the victims. And you did it twice in civil court. So you can't say you didn't have any such plan. In spite of the harassment email, Mr. Perry, you're nuts. There's the email about it. You planned it when I was in jail, illegally detained. You obstructed justice. Because that's not dated. Asking for my evidence till the 15th. I filed a report. Look at the bottom. 1/21/16. You had me arrested 9 days later for filing a false police report in retaliation for a public servant doing his job. And Judge Hanson signed this, didn't ask, prove to me it's a false police report, and that it's related to your job as a legislator. Because guess what everything fucking said, Mr. Perry? Every fucking thing I have, going way back to 2011, is about your stalking problem. Weirdo. I'm never going to date somebody who's weirdo. Not going to happen. You're not good enough for me. Sorry, you don't fit in my crowd. You don't fit in my crowd. You never will. You disgust me. You're disgusting. Here's all this. All of this has nothing to do with your job. And then you got a reporter all pissed off. She's hitting her desk. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I looked through everything on the docket, on all her cases. I looked through everything on all the Facebook, on all the everything I could find. Nothing anywhere does that girl say, I don't want him to get elected. I don't like his position on pro-life or gun rights or anything political at all. Everything she says, going way the hell back, is leave me alone. He lied to me, and I will no longer take Mr. Perry's calls. You wasted her time. You do that to everybody else. Our time is not yours to waste, sir. Get the fuck off me. You lied in court. There's 6 fraud cases, sir. So, there's that. Anybody can read all of this. There's nothing fucking political anywhere. Here, I'm talking to Aurora Farthing about a pro-life bill. And it was not Charles Perry's decision. It was Rick Perry's. I like Rick Perry. I disagreed with what he did here. But it had nothing to do with whether or not it's pro-life or if I'm pro-life or pro-choice. What my conversation with Aurora was about is they're going to extend session to put together a bill that's worded wrong. It's not going to pass the Supreme Court. And we're going to waste taxpayer funds. And that's what I'm talking about. And guess what? I was right. It was about fiscal responsibility. It was about the language of the bill is not going to pass Supreme Court equal protection stuff. And they have done one, I guess, since that did. This one here did not. I was right. The language was not worded properly in order to hold under the Equal Protection Act. That's all I'm saying here to Aurora. Not I'm pro-life or I'm pro-choice and I don't want... Nope. Wasn't about that. Mr. Perry is a pathetic nothing. Doesn't matter to me at all. I grew up in the home of an elected official. I was in government reform long before I met him. I knew all kinds of people. I didn't need his help with anything. Nothing. He needed to be introduced to people I knew. I didn't need his help with a fucking thing. I mean, that alone shows his insanity. That's my granddad. He was a fucking... He helped get those UFO museums set up in Roswell. He's a pretty big shit, Mr. Perry. You don't even begin to compare to the way I grew up. My family was the power in the town where I grew up. If you grow up like that, you don't think anything of it. You don't know any different. It's like growing up with or without feet. If you don't have feet, you don't know what it's like to have feet. You don't know what you're missing. Or a refrigerator or running water. If you grew up in some village in India and there's no running water, you have no idea what that's like to have it. You don't know any other way. I don't know any other way to grow up than the way I grew up. Here's Jerry Springer show. You're all, Jesus. I can't even, don't even get me started. I'm already on a rant. I don't want to make it worse. This was my life, Mr. Perry. That's my granddad's name on the front door of the police station. He was the police chief. You gonna fuck with somebody that grew up in the home of cops? Weren't you told? Wouldn't somebody say, get Charles Perry a girlfriend that doesn't know a bunch of cops? Vegas has a lot of escorts, a lot of different kinds of escorts, Perry. Get off my back and go get one of those. And leave me the hell alone. I am not anybody's sex slaves, and I am not your bitch. You fucked with the wrong people. And I didn't call Jerry Ridley and say, is it okay if I defend Mike Neely? You approve. Not my way. I'm going to do what I do, and fuck if you don't like that. That's your problem. I'm going to try to do the right thing. Because what my goal is, relieve suffering caused by crime, because you guys cause a lot. We're sick of it. You don't, you fail to factor in human emotion. You fail to factor in everyone's sick of you. And so, when things don't go your way, it's because somebody somewhere got pissed off at you. Somebody somewhere is sick and tired of you, as I am. We all are. Nobody likes to watch human suffering. You couldn't tell when the world blew up, when Derek Chauvin sat on the neck of a man and killed him right in front of everybody? He's being filmed and he did it anyway. Because most people have empathy. And you don't have it. That's your problem. So you fail to factor that into all your little plans. And you piss everybody off. And then you get caught. And then you get told on. And you get caught. And you get told on. And you get caught. And you get told on. And you get caught. And you get told on. And never a date. You're making everybody sick at their stomach. You and your little racketeering gig. But Perry, you're bringing the heat on everybody. That's your problem. You don't get a date with me, ever. You don't. You have to be normal to ride this ride. And you can't figure out how to get women to like you. And it isn't by peeping, and it isn't by hacking, and it isn't by violent subjugation. And whoever said, she's not going to mind, I'm going to cut up her credit card, we're going to get you on that. Getting into my mail is illegal. You stay the fuck out of my mail. I heard the recording of you saying that. So who gave me the recording? Who the fuck do you think I am? Remember who it is you're talking to when you start doing that shit. You've not been caught this much. Ever, have ya? Until you started fucking with me. Is that not right? Is that not right, Perry? You're something. We want to relieve suffering caused by the crime you do. That's what we want. Now, I'm going to quick end on this. My defense of Michael Neely is because I'm not stupid. I can look at somebody and go, gosh, it doesn't look like they were even in a fight, much less that they killed someone. Right? I read the arrest report. 2 injuries. One on the lip from being thrown face first into the floor by the hotel guy. And it says that in his arrest report. And a red swollen right hand. You cannot cause internal decapitation. Severe damage over his head, neck, and face. Bruising. Blunt force trauma to the head. Enough to kill him. And look like that. Can't do it. You had the chance to make this right and you chose not to. She's not going to mind. I'm going to tear up her credit card. Whatever. What the fuck ever. What in the fuck ever. Perry, shut up. Everybody's sick and tired of you wasting our time having to repeat ourselves. Get a special ed teacher to help you understand the words said to you. I don't like you. Disgust me. You disgust me. You never get a date you get told on. More than ever in your fucked up life. You had a chance to do the right thing and you chose not to. You're causing suffering. You're being stopped. I didn't invite you here. I came here to get away from you. I didn't come up here to pick a fight with anybody. You're causing the conflict. You're causing the strife. You're causing the suffering. You're being stopped. You're getting told on. Fuck the hell off me. If you're going to threaten me, anybody, any of you, do it to my face, coward. Don't you dare do it to behind my back. And everybody notices there's too many motions filed where there's no hearing, sometimes required by law. What's she got on them? That they're not letting her in the courtroom. Because when there is a hearing, they won't let her in the courtroom. Do you know people are noticing that? Do it to my face, whoever. I'm going to cut up her credit card. And you did. You did cut it up. And you shouldn't know anything about it. And we're going to get you on that. Get your hands out of my wallet. Get your cameras off me. Get out of my phone. Because anytime I say where I'm going to do something, we're going to start using that against you. You shouldn't know a fucking thing about anything I'm doing. And the only way you could, peeping, hacking, everything illegal. Everything illegal under the sun.
Leave me alone.
All you want.
I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone.
Hey men, leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them. Especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumbass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay? It's not clever. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior. And you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her. And you need to leave her alone. And this is Bacon.